we all thought it's a given that you're going to be a Hall of Famer. They're adding extra guys. They're bringing 10, 12 more guys than normal. How do you feel when you don't hear your name at that point?
Well, I was disappointed. It brought tears to my eyes. It broke my heart. See, this is the first time I've been a finalist. And they created this centennial class to make up for some of the mistakes that they made in overlooking guys. And
Knowing
I said,
that you
well,
was that mistake.
yeah, I think I'm one of the mistakes. I know I've been overlooked.
Right.
So I'm thinking this is going to be it. So I had, all family, friends, everybody. We had champagne on ice. And I worked for just about every local TV station in the market. So knew he calls. I said, well, come on. Then here comes the guy from Channel 4. Here comes the guy. So everybody was at the house, So, and then I wanted it that way.
Right.
I wanted the family, friends and fans to be part of this announcement. And then I'm like, here goes another guy. Then Harold Carmichael goes. And he knew before because they don't need to let him know, but he was on the set. So he had to know before he even got there. Exactly. He was in. Exactly. And I had gone through this anguish and anxiety and stuff. And so once he went in, I said, okay, let me check the phone.
Okay, so
it's got to be coming. It never rang.
So what you just said, the anxiety and all, would you have rathered them told you that you weren't going to get in?
Yeah, instead of make me go through that.
Right.
The one that I bet on myself.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Crockett's Corner. And as I promised, I'm Ray Crockett. That's my man, Ro Parrish. And this guy on the show needs no introduction.
Wait, hold on for a second.
No. I have to say this, Ro.
You gotta say it?
I'm gonna put this down.
Okay, put it down.
This man is part of the reason why I even became a football player. Growing up in Dallas, I only watched really one game. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. And here's something that I want to say about Drew that's so interesting and a lot of people don't know. There's a phrase that we all know in football today is because of this man and his quarterback. It's called the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
They are the one who created the Hail Mary.
Yes.
So,
and I'm a Baptist from New Jersey.
Known
for the Hail Mary.
I appreciate you for coming on, brother. First and foremost, Drew, let's get right into it because, man, I'm telling you, that was no lie at the intro. If it wasn't for you, I have to say thank you, brother. Right. Thank you for the enthusiasm, the excitement, all of that you brought to Dallas. Because I'm telling you, I didn't know anything about America's team. I don't even know if they were America's team before that. Yeah. But because of your play and because of the way you played the game, it made a little country boy named Ray Crockett say, you know what, one day maybe I could do that. So I want to say thank you first and foremost for that, and welcome to Crockett's Corner.
You did pretty good for yourself, Ray. You listen and you learn, all right? Good job.
I tried.
Good job.
Hey, from one champion to another, I tried.
Good job.
Now, this is what we're going to do on this show, man. We keep it very hot.
Yeah.
Honest, open, and transparent. So you know what's coming. Right. Some of the heat's coming, but it's fun too.
That's all right. Bring it on.
So first
of all, Skip Bayless and all these guys from back in the day. This ain't nothing.
I ain't Skip.
I hear you. I should cut that out.
Cut that out.
As a matter of fact.
But we're gonna start off like this. Okay, you were undrafted. I know that going into the league. So let's talk a little bit about your football playing career before the league. Yeah. What led you to football? Did you ever think first and foremost that you would be in the league? And what just kept you going after not being drafted? What kept you going?
Yeah. Well, guys, first of all, as a kid growing up, all I loved was sports, all right? I grew up in New Jersey, a little town called South River, and sports was big. Football, basketball, and baseball. That's what I played. And so I'm from Jersey, and the teams I rooted for were the Giants and the Jets, the Knicks and the Nets, the Mets and the Yankees, the Islanders and the Rangers.
All of them.
I couldn't stand the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just saying, all right? I got as soon as they paid me, then I became a Cowboy fan.
Right.
But growing up in that kind of environment in the house with 3 other brothers and 3 sisters, sports was really big to my dad, so he led us in that direction. After school, he said none of his sons are going to come home and just sit around and watch TV. You either go to practice or you go to work.
Right.
All right. So we went to practice.
Practice was the easier choice.
Right. So I love playing, playing all kinds of sports. And then in South River, my hometown, the tradition of high school football was really big. I'm not the first Hall of Famer from a little town called South River, New Jersey. Population maybe 5, 6, 7,000. And I'm not the first Hall of Famer out there. We had a guy named Alex Wojciechowicz. Okay, you got to understand, the town is called Little Poland.
Right.
So
That's what
you had a lot of names.
That was a name that you couldn't pronounce growing up.
Exactly. They started calling me that. I thought they were calling me a name with all that Drewski and all that.
Right.
But Alex Wojciechowicz, and then in high school, I played with Joe Thiesman, my quarterback. He was a senior when I was a sophomore. I started at wide receiver.
So I have the Thiesman or Theismann?
In South River, it's Thiesman.
Okay.
He went to Notre Dame.
League, it was Theismann.
No, he went to Notre Dame, had a chance to win the Heisman Trophy.
Became Theismann. Okay,
but
there we go.
he changed it. Now, the PR department didn't change it.
Oh, so it was
the
him.
marketing, it was him. And you got to know Joey to understand that.
There was a little lies going on about that. But okay, I digress. All right, so
but back in South River, it's Thiesman.
Right, got it.
But anyway, I started at wide receiver as a sophomore. He was the starting quarterback. The first pass I caught in my first varsity game was a 60-yard touchdown pass from Joe Thiesman.
Wow.
And I caught it standing in the end zone.
All alone.
He was scrambling to his left. I just kept running, and he let that thing fly, and I'm waiting, caught a 60-yard touchdown. But that's how good he was in high school. He was dominant. His senior year, my sophomore year, we only played 9 games. He didn't have no playoffs then. We were undefeated. We were unscored upon, Ray. You'll appreciate this.
I definitely
unscored upon for 6 games.
Yes, I definitely
The first 4 games we were unscored upon. So we had a great team. And then I would play the varsity game on Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock kickoff. The whole game, safety on defense, wide receiver, never come off the field. And then on Monday, I would play the JV game at quarterback to groom to replace Joey at quarterback. And so when he left, I moved into quarterback as a junior, become all-state as a senior, and now I'm thinking about going on to the next level.
And that's what I got to get to.
Baseball was my sport.
That's what I was about to say.
My sport.
Football was your second sport. Baseball was your first sport.
Yeah.
So you end up with a great baseball career. What made you choose between the two?
Well, when I went to Tulsa, I chose Tulsa over Nebraska.
And I wanted to ask, how did you get there? How did you get from New Jersey to Tulsa? Country Tulsa at that time.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, very much a culture shock.
Right.
I asked my dad, God rest his soul, when he took me down there, the last thing he said before he left, he's going to stay over the weekend. He ended up staying a whole week, okay? And the last thing he said before he left, he said, son, you sure you want to stay here? My dad didn't let us quit nothing.
Right.
All right?
So that was one time you had an opportunity to quit if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could have left and, gone somewhere else.
What made you stay?
The reason I knew about Tulsa, I was being recruited to go to Michigan State. And the guy recruiting the New Jersey territory, he was the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. He had the New Jersey territory. And through that process, he ended up getting a head coaching job at Tulsa. So now he's recruiting me to go to Tulsa. I didn't even know where it was. I thought it was Tulane, Louisiana or something. I didn't never heard of Tulsa.
Similar name.
Yeah, I didn't never heard of Tulsa. But Tulsa caught my eye because they had a great baseball program. They were going to College World Series every year. Gene Shell, the coach, Steve Rogers, who pitched for Montreal for a number of years in the majors, Jerry Tabb. And so I said, man.
So was that your plan to play both?
Guys, when I came out of high school, I was 5'11", 145, all right? So I wasn't built like no football player. So baseball was my thing. So I was going to they were going to let me play both. I chose Tulsa over Nebraska. Nebraska wanted me to heir apparent to Jerry Taggy and all that. Johnny Rogers was there at that time.
So they recruited you as an option quarterback to play at Nebraska.
Yeah.
But you looked at going to Tulsa with the opportunity to play both sports as the better option for you.
Yeah, and still at quarterback in football, but baseball was center field, all state, 444 my senior year. Just saying.
Look, not to brag, but I was pretty damn good at baseball.
I don't want to brag.
we got. So what? Baseball, quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you're a Hall of Fame wide receiver. What transition and when did it happen?
Yeah, well, after a couple years at Tulsa, started quarterback, captain on the freshman team, They brought in 6 quarterbacks. I beat them all. They moved 3 to defense and all that kind of stuff. Freshmen couldn't play varsity then. So we had a good season. I had a good season. As soon as the season ended, the head coach came to me and said, Drew, you got a chance to start at quarterback next year on the varsity as a sophomore. But we need you to make a commitment to football. And so I sit down with my dad. We hashed it out, football, baseball, na. So we figured it'd be easier to go to football, maybe back to baseball, than instead of baseball, then
back to football.
Right.
You know,
once you get out of the game, it's hard mental thing to get back into that flow. So I gave up baseball for that opportunity to start at quarterback. Ended up starting about the 10th game or so of that season. And then junior year, I'm starting, going into spring practice. They brought in 2 JUCO All-Americans. They had good spring practice. So at the end of spring practice, I went to the coach and said, hey, I'm thinking about pro football now. I knew I didn't have the skills to be an NFL quarterback.
Right.
So I asked him, can he move me to wide receiver? He said, yes. So he moved me to wide receiver. Remember Ray Rhodes?
Yeah.
The great Ray Rhodes from Mahia, TCU, and eventually Tulsa.
Definitely.
We were classmates at Tulsa. So in moving me to wide receiver on the flanker side, the strong side, they moved Ray Rhodes to running back.
Wow.
And you didn't want to play running back at Tulsa back then.
No, not back then.
And to this day, Ray is still upset with me about that.
So now we understand how the legend became the legend to becoming a wide receiver. We will be back because it's about to get down and dirty now.
Absolutely.
Because we already know, look, we know what he's done in his pro. Wait till you see what he's doing after in the transition. We'll be back. Crockett's Corner.
And earlier we talked about your time in college, going from quarterback to wide receiver, making that request to change because you had the sights of the NFL in your horizons. But talk about how you got to the NFL, which was being an undrafted player. You didn't get drafted maybe the way you thought you would.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get drafted. And only reason because scouts were all over the campus. We had some good ball players. Team-wise, we didn't have any success, all right? The 4 years I was at Tulsa, we had 3 losing seasons. The 4 years at Tulsa, we had 3 head coaches.
Ouch.
All right. And the 4 years there, we were on probation 3 of the 4 years. And I'm probably a reason why.
So wait. So are you trying to tell me they was paying back then?
No, not paying, but just giving a little ticket fly home or something like that.
Okay.
No, they weren't lining up pockets or nothing like that. No,
Let's pass the
nothing
statute of limitations anyway, so he get money.
Yeah, he good. No, he good. I just wanted to know. In comparison to my pay, was he getting paid?
Right. No. So, at that kind of environment, you as an athlete can't show your skills. You can't really prosper and stuff like that. So when it came time for the draft, nobody thought Drew Pearson was good enough. I'm like 160 pounds, 165, ran a 4.6 40, and only caught 55 passes in 2 years at Tulsa, 22 my junior year, 33 my senior year. Wow. But I had a 20-yard average. And I think that's what caught their eye. And so anyway, not getting drafted, when that draft came, how the draft day is, you watch it. And Ray, this is back when they had 17 rounds of the draft.
Whoa,
all right?
17?
450 some players. I mean, 2 full days. The full day you're crying and, oh no, give me some tissues. And then here comes the second day, yeah, I got this. Then they go the 11th, 12th, 13th, in the 15th, 16th round. Now you're drinking Boone's Farm,
right?
Okay.
Now
it's not going to happen. I got
so
to drown.
So what does that do to you?
My sorrow.
What does that do to you as far as a player, and how do you approach that when finally the Cowboys come and offer you that contract, as they say, as far as an undrafted player?
Yeah, it deflated me. I was disappointed. I thought I was going to get drafted, but at the end of that second day, the phone started ringing. The first one to call was the Cowboys. They were in town at the Camelot Hotel. Bob Griffin, the scout, was there, wanted to sign me right then. But then the Pittsburgh Steelers called. And then the Green Bay Packers called.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Now I'm feeling better.
Right.
But the Cowboys were in town. And he said, we want to sign you right now. So Cowboys, Dallas, and that's all we saw at Tulsa on TV. I knew Bob Hayes and Roger and all this. And, Pittsburgh, I knew Lynn Swann wanted to have a career in the NFL, so I didn't sign with Pittsburgh so he can have a career. Right on, Lynn. Keep sending those checks, buddy. And then I didn't go to Green Bay because we brothers don't like that car.
If you had your choice, that's not a place you
No,
pick.
Green Bay was cut off. You know, and I grew up a Green Bay Packer fan because of the history and all that, but not to play ball up there.
Right.
But the Cowboys offered me an opportunity. The scout was there. I drove down to the Camelot Hotel. Marcus Haynes was my father-in-law at that time. Remember the legendary Harlem Hotel?
Yes.
He gave us a car. I'm driving down to the Camelot Hotel about 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night to go sign this, or hopefully sign a contract. And I'm bucking. This is a stick shift on the column, 1954 Ford.
Oh, man,
and I'm bucking down.
Yeah. You get there.
I got there.
Any way possible.
Anyway,
Right.
by any means
So
necessary.
I get there. The scout said, "We want to sign you a contract." He laid out. I said, "Okay, great." He said, "Base salary going to be $14,500.
14. Wait. Let's talk about that.
$14,500.
a little bit different than
The
the
base
Base salary.
base
I said,
salary.
"Okay, you must go make it up in a signing bonus." All right. They said, "Yeah, we got a signing bonus for you, $150.
Oh,
Wow.
150, not 1500 like y'all got back in the day.
Exactly.
$150.
$150.
You know why I didn't hold out for $200? You know what I told that scout?
and I know you would have held out.
Oh, if I had had any pull,
Right.
I had no pull. I said, "Look here, sir. If you pay me that signing bonus in cash, I'll sign right now." And you know, guys, they had no ATMs, right? So he pulled out 7 20s and a 10 and laid it down on the table. And I counted it first. Got a good education at Tulsa. Count that money.
Count that money, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I got my signing bonus. And the scout said, "Drew, why do you want it cash? Most people want a check. They want to take a picture of it, frame it, and all that." I said, "Sir, I need gas money to get back to the apartment." I had no credit cards.
All that being said, you got $150 cash. You're a free
$150.
agent. You finally got your chance.
Yeah.
Talk to me about just the initial, because we know what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
You became the original 88.
Right.
How about the initial training camp?
Yeah, it was tough, no doubt, because back then, we brought in Gil Brandt had this philosophy, bringing as many rookies. You got your draft choices and as many free agents that you can sign. So when I went to camp, there was 100 rookies there. Wow. We had a whole week of two-a-days, all right, and 100 rookies, most of them free agents just like me.
Right.
And the lines were so long, Ray, you catch your breath
get 2
easy.
reps.
2. You need more. I'm cutting in front of everybody and all that. But anyway, after that, waiting, you finally get in, and now you're like trying to get past this two-a-days. At the end of two-a-days for rookies, 100 started, 50 were at the end of that a week later, and half the guys cut themselves. I had a roommate, Harvey Martin, my best friend. We were together alphabetically, M and P. But in the dorm, you had rooms, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. And as these players, other rookies were getting cut, I told Harvey, "Why don't you move to the other
You
side?"
start moving over.
Harvey said, "No, you move to the other side." We were a little superstitious.
Yeah.
So we had this big old room and our beds were still together. So that didn't look right. But anyway,
on that note,
Yeah,
so you managed that. You get through it.
yeah.
You play 11 years for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Where was the turning point? There's always that turning
Well,
point.
after I made the team.
Yeah, after you make
know.
the team, where's the turning point of I'm becoming the original 88?
Well, that was the first turning point, making the team. We found out, Harvey Martin calls me and said, "Turn on Channel 5. Scott Murray's about to announce the rookies that made the team." That's how we found out.
Really?
And I found out I'm in a premises apartment, which was right next door to the Cowboy practice field, where Gil Brandt hooked me up. My balcony overlooked the Cowboy field parking lot. And I found out what kind of car Roger Staubach was driving. And I'd sit on that balcony, waiting till that car pull in. Yeah. And that car would pull in, I'd shoot over to the practice field. And he couldn't believe how come I was there every time he was there.
Not knowing you were spying on
I'm
him.
checking.
Yeah.
I'm checking.
How come every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen?
Right.
Exactly.
So I have to ask this question. The number 88.
Yeah.
Tell me the story about how you got that number and what went into the number 88 originally.
Right on. Well, fast forward till I make the team, and now you got to get a number. And back then, as receivers coming in, you had to have a number in the 80s. I was number 3 in in college. You couldn't have that number. So I had to have a number in the 80s. Well, Billy Joe Dupree was #1 draft pick. He took 89. Golden Richards was 2. He took 83. Gene Fugate, 84. Really, the only number available, 85. Oh, my God. The original 85? That's a defensive guy's number, man. That ain't no wide receiver.
That's Jack Youngblood.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And then 81, and then 82. Otto Stowe had 82,
Right.
which is the reason 88 was available, because Ron Sellers had it the year before. They traded Ron Sellers to the Miami Dolphins for Otto Stowe. And Otto Stowe had played 3 years behind Paul Warfield. Warfield was 42, so he couldn't have 42, so he took 82. So there's nothing left but, 88. It sound good.
Right.
And so first preseason game, we played the Rams in the Coliseum. And so they got my jersey in there. I'm thinking, 88, I put it on, and I stuck it in the pants. It looked like number 8, because I was so small, the 8s overlapped, okay? But anyway, that's how I got 88. And when I retired, I started calling myself the original 88.
So you made that name.
And people, I'm not the original guy,
Right.
but people just started picking up on that. And then here comes Michael Irvin. Drew, they want me to wear your number. Is it okay? I said, Michael, first of all, it's not my number. Second of all, if you do wear it, don't do what I did in it. Do more than I did.
I like that.
And that's what he did. Individually, Hall of Fame, team-wise, Super Bowls, 3s. So anyway, now we got something going.
Right.
Then here comes Dez. All right, we put
Right.
the pressure on Dez.
Right.
And Dez was
you
rolling.
got Dez going.
And then here comes CD.
Then CD.
Yeah.
And now this is the only number in Cowboy history that they treat this way,
Right.
special this way, and hold it for the next guy that's worthy. And then you think about the NFL. NFL doesn't do numbers like this.
No.
They don't
And it
treat
all
a legacy
started right
of
here
numbers. And it
with the
started right
original-
here at the
with
original 88.
We'll be right back, because as my man said, we're going to get deep. We're going to get personal. There's some things that I need to know, and there's also some things he needs to tell us. We'll be back. Crockett's Corner. Welcome back to Crockett's Corner. I'm Ray Crockett, and this is my guy, Ro Parrish. And we are sitting here on the corner with the original, self-named original 88,
Right on.
Mr. Drew Pearson.
Right on.
Now, Drew, we've talked about how you got there. We've talked about the toughness and the versatility of you as a player. And then we talked about being humbled. Now you become the original 88. You start making plays. You get to big time. You guys go to 7 different championship games on your way to the Super Bowl. You lose the first 3.
Yeah.
Talk about that experience. You talk about humbling, not being drafted.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you was going to see a Super Bowl?
Yeah, because we had the quality team and the quality coaching. That was our focus, all right? Coach Landry always set 2 goals, a reasonable goal and an outstanding goal. If we didn't have the talent, our reasonable goal would be a lot lesser than the outstanding goal, which is always to go to the Super Bowl. But we had talent, so our reasonable goal was always to win the NFC East, to get in the playoffs, and then once there, reestablish the goal, go out the outstanding goal, which was to not just go to the Super Bowl, but win it. So we played to win. And if you're gonna, you know as well as I do, if you're gonna take the risk to step between those lines and play NFL football,
You got to play
and play the guy that you're able to walk off that field each and every time,
Yeah.
not play that you won or lost, but play that you're able to walk off. You want to play to win. You want everybody to be on the same page. And that's what we had with Landry. He had us all focused on the same thing, paying attention to details, the little things like wearing a tie to games, carrying briefcases instead of gym bags, studying computer printouts.
Right.
I came in the league in '73, and they're studying computer printouts. This is Gil Brandt's innovation.
Right.
We're
But
breaking
see,
down
this is what
opponents.
people don't know.
People have
they
no
don't
clue.
understand that, because back in your day, like you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
you only made $14,000, $15,000, $16,000. So what I admired, and I was being, a young pup, didn't realize what he was doing. I admired what Tom Landry did. He was actually setting you guys up for the transition of leaving the league, because he made you guys accept it and take it like it was a business
Exactly.
by your dress and by the way you approach the game.
Exactly. And then the meetings, and not just giving you goals, setting up ways, means, and methods to reach those goals, just like a business meeting. That's where all my business acumen came, so I can use in my life after football. Because while we played, as you said, we didn't make no money. So we had to prepare for life after football. I worked every offseason. I played in the NFL, you know.
Wow.
When I retired, I caught 2 touchdowns in the playoff game against the Rams my rookie year. And 2 weeks later, Harvey Martin, Billy Joe, and myself went to the Zales Corporation and asked for a job.
Wow.
And we started working for Coleman Baum Sporting Good. I don't know if you remember those guys, but they were the #1 sporting good concern in the Metroplex. They put me and Harvey in North Park and Billy Joe in South Dallas somewhere. And poor Harvey, you know, he was a football player. Right. I'm a sports guy. They put me in equipment, everything. They put Harvey in shoes, okay? He's 6'6" down there trying to put shoes on and untie these ladies coming in. But anyway, so we had to prepare for life after football. And the best education we got to do that was right there in the Cowboy building with Coach Landry as the head coach.
So there's obviously plenty of triumph in your career, whether it be leading the league in receiving yards, eventually winning that Super Bowl, being an All-Pro, the best at your position. However, there's tragedy that sometimes comes along with it, and your career came to an end probably a lot sooner than it should have with the car accident. So speak on that.
Yeah, it was a tough ending. There's no doubt about it. I had, my 11th year in the league, I had planned on playing, 3 or 4 more. I was negotiating a contract with the Cowboys. I had David Falk, who was known for the agent for Michael Jordan and all that, and Cowboys offered 4. We were coming back at 5. We were negotiating back and forth. And so it was just a matter of working it out. And the Cowboys wanted me. I wanted to be there. So, but anyway, through that whole process while that was going on, I had brought my younger brother down to Dallas to help him out, lead him in the right direction in his life.
Living with you at
this time. Just hanging and stuff. And I used to manage the Cowboys off-season basketball team because we needed to supplement income. Right. I had guys, I would schedule 40 games through the off-season. I had guys, if they played every game with me, basketball, they were making more money than they were making by playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
Sounds like what Urban doing in the off-season.
Right.
Look, we had that same job.
Same thing, yeah.
Hey, who they learned it from?
You're right. And I learned it from my father-in-law, Marcus Haynes, because I used to go on the road with him and so learn how to do it and all that and promote it. And so anyway, I did all that. And but you just know that the game sooner is going to end, but you don't know how it's going to end.
Right.
All right. So after one of those games, I'd taken my brother to his my other brother's apartment. I got on 635 and bam, hit a parked truck and, lost him. He was laying on my shoulder. I knew it was gone. And I was out. They thought I was gone too. Then I came to and actually got out of the car and asked the medic, everything, lights blaring, glass and everything all over. Asked him, is my brother dead? And he said, yes. And they couldn't believe I was even walking.
Right.
So they led me to the ambulance and all that. And that's the last time I got to see my brother because, the funeral services, I'm in critical condition. I had a broken clavicle, lacerated liver. And so I had a hemorrhaging. And it was a tough, it's still a tough experience. And
right.
Something that lives with you forever, because you don't want, and the whole time you're living with this, you're trying to figure out why you were spared and not your brother, And so if you're spared, you want to do it right. There's a reason why you were spared.
Right.
And so that's what I try to do when I meet fans and stuff, and I try to make them feel special because you have an opportunity to make their day. I can't tell you how many people come up to me, when I was a kid, I wore number 88 just like you and all that kind of stuff. You're my favorite player and all that kind of stuff. So, you have that opportunity. So I try to make it even more special. Hey, yeah, my dad's a big fan of yours. He taught me to be a Cowboy fan. I said, well, get him on the phone. Let's talk to him. Let's talk to him. Yeah. Hey, oh my God, I can't believe it. But you had the ability to do that, and the Lord blessed you with that. He spared you maybe for that and to live it through him. And that's what I've been trying to do.
So what you hear now is real prevalent about mental health, mental issues, things of that nature. And for you, maybe not CTE or concussion or anything, but going through that car wreck, that does something to you mentally. How do you handle that? And then how do you make that transition in preparation for the next life, because now
Yeah.
everything's abruptly changed.
Yeah.
So after that being abruptly taken away, how do you handle that mentally, and what's your transition like?
Yeah, that's a good point, because physically I healed up. You know, I couldn't play any more football, but I healed up to live. But mentally, I took a pounding. I still take a pounding with that, and it's called depression. You know, you get in that state. You know, you wonder why. You know, you want some answers. You know, they're going to come later in the life after, but you just want some answers, and you wonder why. And so it's just tough to deal with on a daily basis. So I get that way. People say, "Oh man, depressed. You got everything. What are you depressed? What are you depressed about?" You know, no, it's not that. When you get those moments alone, you know, when you get away from the crowd, you know, everybody's telling you how great you are. Then you go from that to home. You're by yourself. Now you're getting this shell again, and you know, it's hard.
And how do you release that shell? Because you know, as well as we know, in our community,
Absolutely,
it's not cool to get therapy, or it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to say that I need some type of help, or to actually cry out.
Yeah.
What did Drew Pearson do? How did you overcome it, and what did you use to help you through it?
The only way I overcame it, I'm gonna fight it. I ain't gonna let it take me down. I was not gonna let it beat me. And I get in that mood, but I come out of it, you know, and I come here, I get rejuvenated again. I go home, I'll be in that mood again, but I'll go out again and get rejuvenated. I'm not gonna let it beat me down. All right. We've seen stories with, heard you mention Dave Duerson,
Right.
Junior Seau. I've done things with Dave Duerson, with Reverend Jesse Jackson on the Fairness and Athletic Committee. This brother was super smart.
Yes.
Notre Dame, had kids and all that. But the concussion, the CTE, he couldn't overcome that. There's probably a lot of depression associated with all that.
Yes.
And, you know, he ends up taking his life. Junior Seau, same thing. But I was never going to go in that direction, because to me, with all due respect to them, it's a selfish way to go. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to leave my kids wondering why, you know, and having that stigma associated to their lives now. So you just try to deal with it the best you can.
Right.
And God knows He's got a plan for everybody, and I'll just follow that.
And you know what? There's really no easy transition out of that. But what we will do, how we will transition, is we'll toast to you and the success that you've had post-career. So let's go ahead and bring those beverages out here if we can. I mean, we're in the lounge. So
Yeah.
there it is. There it is.
And if you're talking about post-career, like you said, we're toasting to the career you had. We're toasting to how you fought through and how you got to a point to where on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Little Glenn Levitt every now and then will help you get through it.
Just look, we'll toast to that.
Yeah, toast to
and
that.
as we're toasting, I'm going to get to your post playing days and your career.
Yes.
Wonderful career. We all know Levy, your career cut short, but done a lot of things. Won Super Bowls, went to 3 Super Bowls, won 1, and now you're up for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about this, because at the end of the day, I know everyone know you deserved it a lot sooner.
Just in case they don't know, so hold on for a second. How are you on the all-decade team
and not make the Hall
and
of
not
Fame?
make it? You are all-pro multiple times during the decade. I'm just saying. So it was long overdue, but now you have the ring on your hand.
Yeah.
So that whole process going through it, I know it's difficult for you as fans of you as a player. We witnessed it, you know, when you don't make it, but then we see the elation that you have when you do make it. Just take us through that whole process, those last couple of years.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, you watch guys go in, and I'm not going to criticize those guys because they're Hall of Famers, you know, but all I say is if they are, then maybe I am too.
What about me?
You know? But the real verification of you being a Hall of Famer is when your teammates tell you belong there, because they know what you brought every day to the game. It's just like when I go into the AT&T Stadium, I look up in that Ring of Honor, I don't see Harvey Martin. I don't see Too Tall. Guys like that. I don't see Charlie Waters up there. But I know what those guys meant. And I'm embarrassed when I see those guys, not Harvey, of course, but I see those teammates that deserve that don't get that, because I know I'm not up there without them. So anyway, it's just a process. Now you're in the Hall of Fame, and it's worth waiting for. It's something you can't criticize. I could have criticized it because I can come.
And that's what I was about to say. There comes a point to where you've always been a humbled guy because of the road less traveled, so to speak. Go. You've always taken that road from not being drafted and then your career ending, or you always had that. But at what point do you go from being humbled to getting angry? That's what we're going to talk about, because there was some anger there. I saw a couple of years in the anger.
We're going to go there?
Yeah, we're going to go to him being a little pissed off about not being in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back. This is Crockett's Corner, hanging on the corner with you guys.
We are in Crockett's Corner. Ro Parrish, Ray Crockett, and the original 88 Drew Pearson having a great conversation with a couple of beverages, of course, because this is what adult men do. Cheers to you. Cheers. Now the Hall of Fame, we kind of tippy-toed around it, but there was a period of time where they weren't letting you in the room where you were supposed to be, and it had you feeling a certain type of way. Let's just dive into that.
Not a certain type of way. He was pissed.
Okay, my bad. Upset, he was pissed off about the situation.
Yeah, look,
more disappointed.
We are straight with no chase.
Yeah.
He was disappointed.
More disappointed.
So disappointed, pissed
and
off,
couldn't figure it out.
Right.
So talk about that. How it made you feel. The day-to-day process, because I know people were coming to you, asking you questions about it consistently. Where were you mentally during that time?
It was a situation where you have no control over it. So you don't let it overtake you. Now, if I can go out and run some more pass rounds, catch some more balls, add to the resume, then that's a little different. But it's there. If it ain't good enough, it ain't good enough. Just tell me that. But, it was just a hard process because you saw other guys go in. And I'm not saying they're not Hall of Famers, because they are. But you say, hey, if they are, maybe I am too.
Yeah. And let's be frank. Everybody on that 1970 all-decade team was in the Hall of Fame, especially the first team. You. Even some players on the second team was in the Hall of Fame.
Facts.
So that's when you get pissed off.
That's when I was upset.
Okay. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it a buck.
And again, not saying they're not Hall of Famers, because they are. But, if they are, so am I. So what's the wait? Why do I have to continue to wait? And there's a lot of biases in politics involved in the voting process. And I made a point of that. At one point, somebody stuck a mic in my face when I didn't make it, or because they announced a new class. So they caught me at the right time. And I said, there's some bias in politics in the voting process. And guess what? 3 or 4 of those guys that have votes came out and said, yes, there is. And they know it.
And that's what's sad about the Hall of Fame, is that we all know it, because when you allow the media, and I hate to say it, I'm gonna throw my guy out there just because Sterling Sharp should be in the Hall of Fame. Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Never gets mentioned.
The only reason why he's not is because, in my opinion, he was not a media guy. He was not a media guy. So that's the sad part about it.
He's arguably one of the best in his position during that
period.
No,
absolutely.
No doubt.
Look at his stats. They're Hall of Fame qualified.
Exactly. So now they had a chance, the Hall of Fame. They had a chance after you spoke your piece, and I do remember that when they stuck the mic in your face. And here comes the centennial. We all thought it's a given that you're going to be a Hall of Famer. They're adding extra guys. They're bringing 10, 12 more guys than normal. How do you feel when you don't hear your name at that point?
Well, I was disappointed. It brought tears to my eyes. It broke my heart. See, this is the first time I've been a finalist. And they created this centennial class to make up for some of the mistakes that they made in overlooking guys. And
knowing
I said,
that you was that mistake.
I think I'm one of the mistakes. I know I've been overlooked. Right. So I'm thinking this is going to be it. So I have, all family, friends, everybody. We had champagne on ice. And I worked for just about every local TV station in the market. So Newey calls. I said, well, come on. Then here comes the guy from Channel 4. Here comes the guy. So everybody was at the house, So, and then I wanted it that way.
Right.
I wanted the family, friends, and fans to be part of this announcement. And then I'm like, here goes another guy. Then Harold Carmichael goes. And he knew before, because they don't only let him know, but he was on the set. So he had to know before he even got there he was in. Exactly. And I had gone through this anguish and anxiety and stuff. And so once he went in, I said, okay, let me check the phone.
Okay, so
it's got to be coming. It never ran.
So what you just said, the anxiety and all, would you have rathered them told you that you weren't going to get in?
Yeah, instead of make me go through that.
Right.
And that's what I said at the end. They did it like this, where they string you out. And see, the thing is, these guys that vote on our careers they're our lives that they're taking in their hands, but they don't know how it affects us when we don't get that word. You know, John Lynch, who's in my class, he was told 7 times no. All right, he got in on the 7th time when they found. If you tell me 6 times no, don't even come over here, man. You know? Big David Baker, I would have kicked you. Don't even come over here. I don't believe nothing.
That's what I want. I wanted the truth to come out.
Yeah.
At that point, that's how you felt. Okay,
Yeah.
so they correct themselves.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why they corrected themselves, and you tell me if I'm wrong, if you feel the same way, was because of the embarrassment they caused you and because of the way things went down. I think that was part of the reason why you got in the next year.
Yeah, I think it hurt the Hall's credibility, the voting process's credibility. Because a lot of these guys, they don't see what happens, you know, when the process before COVID and all was to go around, knock on the door at the hotel. You got your family there, like Everson Walls went through all that. His family's there, he's waiting, I'm texting him, good luck and all this kind of stuff. He gets to knock, you didn't make it. But nobody sees that anguish, that disappointment, not only him, but his whole family and everybody. They pull the camera out of there then, you know? And so this was the first time, I think the Hall of Fame voting committee saw the emotion, the disappointment we go through. When you got our fate in your hands and you don't come through for us, it was disappointing. And I was upset. Heartbroken, disappointed, and upset, and more upset at the process at that time.
Right.
And so, but then you like walk this fine line. You can't, you know, because you're going to hopefully one day be with those guys. Then you're going to say, yeah, you're the guy that criticized us. Now you're up in here. You're all up in here with us.
Teammate.
Yeah. So you just,
the forever team.
You bit your lip, so to speak. And
so did you do it the same the next year as far as the family? And did you
when
do
I
it
got
the same,
in?
or were you hesitant to invite
No,
everybody?
I didn't invite nobody. I didn't even know they were voting. All right, they were voting on the seat. You know what I was out doing? I was out doing yard work.
Wow.
A couple of people said, "Can you do us next?" You know, hey, like Drew Pearson cutting the grass, I'm picking flowers because I just wanted to get. I didn't know they were doing it.
Just occupy your mindset.
Right. Yeah. So the phone rings. All right, I answer it. It's Rick Gosselin, who had a vote on a Dallas sports writer and everything. He had a vote. He said, "Drew, when the phone rings, answers it." I said, "Rick, anytime you call, I'm going to answer the phone." You know. So I'm waiting and doing more yard work and stuff, sweating like a pig and all this kind of stuff. And the phone rings again, 303 area code. I said, "Oh Lord."
Now you know that area code.
Yeah. No,
that's a familiar area code.
Yeah, well, I've been to Canton a few times.
Yeah, that's a familiar area code.
But just between us, I never met any women up there. So it had to be the Hall of Fame. Right.
So it had to be the love of your life.
Yeah. It had to be the Hall of Fame, and it was. David Baker said, "We're so proud, nah. And so, but the way they wanted to do it is to, when I finally got the word, because this makes me eligible as the senior candidate.
Right.
All right. You still need 80% of the vote. But when I finally got that 80% and I got in, now Jerry's instead coming to my house and my family, Jerry wanted to do it at the Star.
Oh,
right. So he writes me a letter.
He's trying to make it up.
Right. He's going to try to write me a letter to me and Roger to meet with Jerry at the Star. I said, "Oh, this might be a real estate deal."
Right.
You know, you got the 12 high rise over there at the Star. They might want to do an 88 or something.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that's what the meeting was about. So I go over there with Roger, and Mr. Jones is at the table, and next thing you know, we're talking and all that. We hear a knock on the door. He said, "Drew, go answer the door." You know, I'm the only black in the room. I said, "What?"
I'm still doing that. I'm still the guy to go answer the door.
First thing I thought, I didn't think about no. So I go answer the door, and bam, there's David Baker in the doorway. He said, "Drew, we were telling you, the senior member of the class of 2000, to the Hall of Fame." I can't even remember. I can't even repeat.
I was
like stuttering.
You heard the important part.
Yes. You got in, because I would have taken him out if I didn't. You come all the way over here in front of Roger and Mr. Jones to tell me no?
Right.
But anyway, he told me that, and that to me. And then the last thing he said, he says, "You can't tell anybody." What?
Right.
I waited 38 years to
And
hear
you
this.
I can't tell nobody.
Yeah, because they wanted to keep it.
So let's be
because
real.
the other guys, they told the
let's be
same
real.
thing too.
Who you tell?
My kids.
And
I
know you
made
told
them-
somebody.
Had to tell my
Hey.
my jaws left.
I'm moving.
They were bursting, man, to tell somebody. But
Man,
I had them. I said, "You're scaring the internet, and if there's any leak out there, all right, who the class is, then I'm gonna let it all out." But
Right.
there was no leak. But that shows you the integrity of the class I went in with. Manning, Woodson, and all these guys, man, it gets a great class. And so we all kept it silent until it was announced officially.
And you know what? No, hey, cheers to that.
But we're
And
here.
normally-
It don't matter
we're
how.
here now. Normally, Drew,
From
I'ma
yard
be
work to the
honest,
Hall of Fame.
And you know what? For you saying that, normally we close it out with a little fun, but I think I'm gonna do it a little different this time because of your story, man, and a lot of people not knowing. You have a quote that Drew Pearson always basically pretty much takes the road less traveled.
Yeah.
What would you say, leaving Crockett's corner? What would you say to the people out there that has to go through suffering, whatever it is, and having to endure through pain and disappointment, but still function and still grow through and take that road less traveled? What would you say to those guys that are out there going through the same situation?
Yeah, I'd say embrace it. Embrace those tragedies, that adversity, those challenges as opportunity. And that's what I did. Every time I got told no, I used that to motivate myself. But they don't know me. They don't know me. They don't know what's inside of me. Like when I didn't get drafted, I'm not big, fast, but they don't measure here.
Right.
You put a tape measure around my heart, I'm #1 draft pick. So you're able to overcome these challenges. And the only reason I had that kind of heart is because I had challenges and I had adversity. And I used each and every one of those challenges and adversity as stepping stones to step on to bigger and better things. Rayfield Wright was the guy that talked about the road less traveled. I heard him speak many times, God rest his soul, and he talked about that. And I said, wow, that's kind of like the same road. Rayfield Wright, Fort Valley State, came into the NFL as a tight end, becoming a Hall of Fame tackle and all this kind of stuff. The road less traveled he took to get there. And I said, Rayfield, how'd you do it like that? You use every challenge as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. And that's what I tried to do in my road, in my journey, to use those challenges as stepping stones. And that's what you got to do in life. We're going to have setbacks. We're going to lose this or that, but you can't let it define you. You can't let it stop you from reaching your goal if that's really that important to you. And my goal was really important to have success in the NFL, success after the NFL. And
you've done it all.
I've been able to
the
do it.
original 88.
I
Take us out
I
of
gotta
here,
hit it
man.
with a rapid
You
fire.
gonna hit it
before
with the rapid fire?
just
Do
a
we have
couple of-
time?
Yeah,
Go
rapid
ahead.
fire. I'll wrap
Hit
it
him
up.
with the rapid fire.
Toughest defensive back you
Oh,
ever
Mel
faced.
Blunt,
Mel
Pittsburgh
Blunt.
Steelers.
Hey, I
Mr. Blunt.
told you I watched those series. I
I
know.
hope you're watching.
I know.
You're still a man.
Joe Theismann or Roger Staubach as your quarterback?
Oh, Roger. I love you, Joe, but Roger's the man. You make more money than you two. Hut, hut.
Hut.
What receiver would you want to have on the other side that wasn't your teammate when you played in the league? Is there a
Oh.
receiver?
No Butch.
No Bush,
No
no
Tony.
Tony Hill,
Yeah.
no Golden.
Yeah.
I would take Lynn Swann,
Really?
John
really?
Stallworth,
Okay.
Gene Washington was a
shocked.
hero of
I
mine.
will say I'm shocked.
Charlie Taylor from the Redskins, number 42.
Yeah.
But
I-
Lynn was
I
your
am a
first
leader.
choice.
Huh?
Lynn would be your first
Yeah,
choice.
because he was 88 and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay.
One quarterback that you wish you had an opportunity to play.
Joe Namath.
Broadway Joe.
Broadway Joe.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna be drinking a couple of these out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Had his own club.
Hey,
You know,
what
had
I
the
need
mink
to know,
coat.
though, that's what I was about to say. What color would your mink be? That's
Oh,
what I need to
it'd be
know.
white, sable white, man. Down to the floor. Double-breasted,
man.
maybe even. Hut, hut.
Last rapid fire. Obviously a pass catcher. Obviously a defensive back. Prime.
Oh, I got
He's
it.
one of
I
them.
got him.
One
I
on
got
one.
him. I got it.
What happened?
I got it.
You
No.
and
I got
Ray
it.
lined up against each other. What
The
happened?
original don't want this. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just
see
kidding.
what Ray would do?
I am really just joking right now.
Ray
That was
was
my
like,
guy.
see, look, you see his size, you know? He tried to get up on that line. I'm gonna be physical on this guy. I'm just gonna jack him, you know? I'm just gonna jack him and then he'll find out. All right?
man.
When I take that lick and come off and I do this and then go deep, hut hut.
Okay, look. My final question:
All right.
push or no push?
No push. No push.
Absolutely not.
Contact.
No push. Contact
Outside
with no-
arm to get inside position,
Uh-huh.
and in doing that, contact.
Uh-huh.
All right? I'm sorry he went down.
Hey,
I am
look,
sorry he went down.
spoken like a
What am I supposed to do, hold him up?
wide receiver. I say push. No, I'm just playing.
Big Mike still said the same thing.
I am telling you right now, I'm telling you guys, you just don't know what you're going to get on Crockett's Corner. That's why you have to tune in. We will be coming back at you next week.
Oh, yes.
Same bad channel, same bad time, just somebody else in the hot seat.
Hut, hut.
Hut,
Right
hut.
on. And
We'll
it's
be
hot
back
too, boy.
Next week, Crockett's Corner. Thank you, guys.